Peace and blessings is real. First and foremost, I want to take this time and give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh through His only begotten Son, Yahushai, for allowing this word to come out. And I hope you sincere brothers and sisters is edified by this word. And the name of the lesson tonight is going to be called God Keep Track of All Tears, including my own tears. That's right, man. The name of the word tonight is going to be called God Keep Track of All Our Tears, including my own tears. It's going to be a quite sobering word tonight. And what I want to speak about and what I want to talk about is, men, not only women cry, but men cry as well. And all crying is not bad. You have tears of sorrow. You also have tears of joy. And in this life that we live, you will experience various different levels of tears. What you see on the screen is one of the toughest fighters, boxers of all time, one of the greatest boxers of all time, Floyd Mayweather Jr. And as you see on the screen, he's in a press conference and he's very emotional. He was crying. We don't know if it was tears of joy. We don't know if it was tears of sorrow. But the point is, he was shedding tears. Even Yahushua wept. In the scriptures, it speaks about Yahushua weeping. So sometimes in life, if you're a man, don't be ashamed when you have to shed tears. It's not a bad thing. I just turned 48 years old last month, and I've did more crying this year than I have probably my whole entire life. And I didn't really know how to feel about it because as a little boy, always growing up to be a young man to a grown man, crying was not symbolic to men. Crying was considered, if a man cried, he was considered a sissy or feminine or, something of that nature. But as I've gotten older, I understand that crying is not a bad thing. And when you cry, it don't have to necessarily be because you're sad, or it don't have to be because you're broken. Sometimes, man, crying is therapy. It's good, it's a good thing, man. And just know that when you do cry, the Lord keep tracks. Okay, He keep track of all our tears. Okay, including mine. And I want to come to you in Psalms chapter 56, verse 8 and 9. And it reads in Psalms 56 and 8, it says, Thou tellest my wanderings, put thou my tears into thy bottle. Are they not in thy book? Okay, so when we analyze Psalms 56 and 8, it says, Thou tellest my wanderings. So when it comes to wanderings, what's a great thing to come to mind? A fugitive. A fugitive wanders, especially an aimless fugitive that's on the run. That's symbolic to the wandering that it speaks of. Hiding while you're in danger. Wandering like hiding when you're in danger. So the Lord can tell when we're on the run like a fugitive. He can tell when we're hiding in danger. It says, put thou my tears into thy bottle. Okay? So when you think about it, man, tears in the bottle. It's a beautiful thing because, when people die, like in the ancient times, it was a thing where when people died, when they shared tears, it was symbolic to putting them in a bottle. You see? And so In Psalms 56:8, it says, "Thou tellest my wanderings, put thou my tears into thy bottle." That's like a keepsake. That's an emotional keepsake. It says, "Are they not in thy book?" In other words, all these accounts of crying, all these wandering and these crying of tears are all accounted for. They're all documented. You see? Why? Because the Lord keeps track of all our tears. In verse 9, Psalms 58, it said, in Psalms 56, verse 9, Salakia, it says, "When I cry unto thee, then shall my enemies turn back. This I know, for Yahweh is for me." You see that? So when it says, "When I cry unto thee," in other words, when you cry unto the Lord, then shall your enemies turn back. Then shall your enemies take flight. Okay? This I know, for God is for me. So your enemies are going to take flight, man, when you cry unto the Lord. Because our cries and our prayers is dreadful to our spiritual adversaries, man. Yeah. You have individuals out here that want to put you through things where you inflict pain and tears in your life. You know, the life that we live is a very tough life. You know, it's a lot of different emotions that you deal with, especially with family and friends. Death is one of the main things that cause us to cry, that cause us to weep and have sorrow. But that's not always the case. Also, when great things happen, triumph happen, perseverance happen, you know, tears of joy, man, happens as well. And that's what I experienced, man. When the Lord allowed me to get my first home, man, I cried for 2 days. You know, I've been meaning to put the video together and bring it to you guys. It still hasn't soaked in yet that I have my own home. But I do have a word that's coming out dedicated to the Lord's favor, to his grace and mercy that he's bestowed upon me, and the journey that it took me, you know, leading up to getting my first home, man. It's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful lesson that I'm going to bring out in the near future, man. And I did a lot of crying. You know, a lot of it was tears of joy. A lot of it was tears of sorrow, man. So, you know, just know, man, it's not a bad thing sometimes when you shed tears. You know, it's also therapeutic. It's a good thing, man. And in Psalms 56:9, it says, "When I cry unto thee, then shall my enemies turn back. This I know, for Yahweh is for me." So when you understand that the Lord is for you, you are guaranteed divine protection, assurance, and safety. Yeah. And so I just want to share this quick word, man. Today is so-called Sunday, the first day of the week. And just understand, man, if you find yourself in a space where you're crying and you're emotional, hey, man, don't feel bad. It's not a crime for a man to shed them tears, for a man to be emotional. You know, even the toughest of us. I've seen Mike Tyson cry, Michael Jordan cry, Mike Tyson cry, a whole lot of other tough, so-called tough men that's known to be tough men have cried. Thugs cry, goons cry, killers cry, man. You know, so understand it happens, and when it happens, embrace it. Stay in that moment. Don't feel ashamed. Don't feel as though, you know, you're lesser than a man because you're shedding tears. You know, shedding tears is always a good thing. It's never a bad thing, man. You see? Again, man, as we get ready to close out the word, what's the name of the lesson? God, keep track of all our tears, including my own tears. You know, all the tears I've ever shedded from a baby all the way up until now, it has been documented. The Lord has documented it. Yeah. And so once again, just deal with it, man. You know, and speaking on crying and speaking on the year I've had, you know, for those that follow this word, you know, I lost my dad. Excuse me, I lost my dad on my so-called birthday, and went to the funeral, had a great home going, man, and I didn't cry. I thought I would, you know, I embraced it. I got a little choked up somewhere in the middle of the service, but I didn't cry. But it would have been okay to cry. It didn't. It's not like I fought my tears. It's just that I haven't properly mourned yet and grieved and processed that my dad is no longer here. But it will be a time that I will have that moment where I will have that emotional breakdown, where I am emotionally vested in dealing with my dad's death. But I know it's comforting. It's comforting to know when I'm in that space crying that is not a bad thing, man. So I hope you sincere brothers and sisters was edified by this word. We give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh through his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai, for allowing this word to come out. And hey, listen, man, do not be ashamed to let them tears, to shed some tears. Don't be ashamed, whether it's a heartbreak, whether it's a death you're dealing with, no matter what it is that caused you to be in that emotional space where crying is being expressed. Listen, man, don't trip. Do you. You know, crying sometimes is better than frowning. You know, they say, people sometimes laugh to avoid crying. Well, let me tell you, man, you don't got to avoid crying. If you want to express your emotions and feelings by crying, let it ride.